Okay, so let's start with the first part. And this part is titled as Current Challenges in Talent Market. Now, notice one thing. I did not say current challenges in job market, although it is very much related to the job market. But talent market is a broader term. And why I call it a talent market? Because whether you are a job seeker or not, whether you are in the job market or not, you are already in the talent market. All of us, you and me, are knowledge workers in the modern terms. And as a knowledge worker, we sell our talent to the companies we work for. And when we work for companies selling our talent, we become a talent marketer. And as a talent marketer, we have to be in the talent market and we have to really manage the marketing on an ongoing basis. The mistake many people make, that they say, okay, I'm looking for a job, and they do very active search and do a lot of work. But as soon as they get a job, they become very passive and complacent and don't do anything to manage their career. Well, the world has changed. The game has changed actually. So whether you are looking for a new job or you are already gainfully employed, satisfactorily employed, managing your talent and managing your career is an ongoing job. Let me quote here very important from Peter Drucker. So I'm sure all of us know about Peter Drucker, a very wise man related to the corporate world. And he said, every business has only two functions. Listen carefully. Peter Drucker. He said, every business has only two functions: innovation and marketing. That's it. Innovation and marketing. And in today's world, I think that very much applies to all professionals. We have only two jobs: innovation and marketing. So, what is innovation for us as a professional? To continuously develop and enhance our talent, because we are in the business of selling our talent. So we need to continuously innovate and learn new things. And you know that the world is changing faster than you can imagine. So learning has become a continuous process to survive and thrive if you want to. So number one, innovation, continuous learning, and leadership development. Number one, and number two, marketing. So I know this is a challenging area. Many of us really don't think that we need to do our personal marketing, and many even don't like personal marketing. But you know what? This is the reality of life today. If you really have to survive and thrive in your talent management and talent marketing, you not only need to learn new things faster, but you need to keep marketing it, because if you don't market, people would not be able to know about your talent. And I'll explain more on that idea in few minutes. So part one, current challenges in talent market. So let's talk about the typical finance career, because most of people here in this webinar are related to finance. Finance careers, we can divide into two parts or two phases. First part I call early to mid career. And early to mid career is basically the phase of the career where you typically most of you qualify as a professional accountant, whether CA, CPA, CMA, ACCA, or any other similar qualification. You start a career. Now, in this phase, career path is very easy and clear, very pretty straightforward. Learning is very fast because you have a lot of technical knowledge if you are a qualified professional accountant. And as soon as you get on a job, you started to learn the practical part. Technical knowledge really matters. And some supervisory and managerial skills help you to grow faster. So most of the professionals in 10, maybe 12 and 15 years reach to a respectable level of a manager or a senior manager, and some lucky ones even reach to the level of financial controllers or chief accountant. So that part is very clear and straightforward. The second phase of the career, which I call mid to the top, is really very, very different. And why it is different? Because of course, as you are moving up on the corporate ladder, the path is narrower with fewer opportunities. Understandable, right? And learning becomes a little complicated because you already knew from an accounting and finance point of view what you needed to learn. And growth is started to slow down or almost stagnant. So you notice in the middle of your career when you are 12, 15 years that you're not growing as fast as you used to be, and it started to get a little bit frustrated. And competition is getting tough. It's very natural that as you are going up, fewer opportunities, more people are competing for there, is a tough competition. So that is how the second part of the career happens. for most of the finance professionals. A couple of things to really notice here. Number one, that your technical knowledge, which was very important and relevant in the first phase, is not that relevant in the second phase. What is relevant in the second phase is your leadership talent, not managerial talent, which you utilize in the first phase, but it's the leadership talent really matters, where many professionals struggle. And number two, the learning path is not clear. So in the first phase, you were very clear. You had a professional accounting qualification, and you thought you have learned everything about accounting and finance, and you learned a few managerial and supervisory skills. But in the second part, you don't know what really you need to know to grow further. And there are trainings here and there, but there is no structured path really. What you need to do to really reach to the top, typically the CFO level. So that is where most finance professionals struggle in the second phase of their career. And so leadership and business and strategy knowledge, that really matters, which unfortunately is not much covered in your earlier accounting education. Okay, so let's try to understand what is happening in the talent market, or you call it job market, in today's time, right? This is very latest. I developed this presentation only last couple of weeks, because I was observing these things for a while. Since last year, few months ago, I was also involved in a high profile search for a CFO level and a senior controller for an American company. I was directly involved, and I learned a lot. I couldn't believe how fast the trends are changing in the job and talent market. That was a lot of learning for me. And then I continue to observe, and I noticed that, look, things are changing, but people are not realizing things are changing, and they are still doing the traditional thing like sending volumes of their CVs and resumes to recruiter and not getting any response. Of course, they are getting frustrated. So I thought to put together something really to help the professionals like you. So notice here, 5 alarming trends in the job market or talent market. Number one, and I think you know it and you will appreciate how relevant it is with your efforts. Number one, businesses are becoming a lot more efficient and productive. Actually, they have become a lot more efficient and productive. Look back, look back at dot-com burst in 2000. Look back at 9/11. Look back at high-profile corporate scandals like Enron and WorldCom around those times, beginning of the century. And then look back at the recent global financial crisis of 2008, 2009, 2010. It was huge challenges for many business, actually all businesses. And what they have done, some failed, many tried to survive by becoming more efficient. And how they become more efficient, of course, they restructured themselves from the costing point of view, reduce their expenses. I'll take the example of the financial industry, mainly in USA, because that was the seriously impacted by that recent crisis. And they have to fire thousands and thousands of senior bankers. Now, everybody was expecting that in few years' time, the industry would come back. And industry did come back, actually. Now, today, these financial institutions and banks are doing much better than in 2009 and 2010. One thing which people were desperately looking for did not happen, was the coming back of jobs. Jobs did not come back, because what happened, all these corporations learn how to manage their work without large number of people. So they learn to do more with less. And why would they go back, right? So, and of course, investors are very happy with this situation, that these banks and financial institutions increase their revenues and profitability without bringing back all those jobs. And not only the financial industry, all other industries did the same thing with this crisis, that they become much more efficient. So that's one major phenomena, that businesses are growing, but the jobs are not growing in proportion to their growth in sales and profitability. Very strong trend. Keep this in mind, number one. Number two, talent demand and supply is out of proportion. So on the one hand, jobs are not growing as fast as they should, but at the same time, talent is growing much fast, right? So in the last, again, 10, 15 years, there is a lot of competition for the jobs, right? So the candidates or the people or the new students coming up in the market, they are saying, look, it's not easy to get the job. So let me really do my masters, let me do my other professional qualifications. And so that's one, there is more demand to really get qualified and learn and get achieve more education. At the same time, the education sector has become much more commercialized. So there is a mushroom growth of universities and schools and institutions who are offering these qualifications. Now, these two factors combined, there is an oversupply of talent. I mean, even if you look at the finance and accounting industry, there is a huge growth of qualified accountants, which is the main qualification, main professional talent to feed the industry. And unfortunately, now we see that qualified accountants are accepting very low level jobs. In fact, I know a couple of specific examples where qualified chartered accountant have accepted a job of payable or receivable administrator, which was never thought of the chartered accountant to do their job. But since jobs are not available, so they are accepting it, of course, at a low salary. So that's other significant trend, quite contrasting, quite conflicting. Jobs are not growing, and the talent is growing faster than ever. A third very important factor. Now, with this oversupply or abundant supply of talent, employers are becoming less loyal to their employees, even older employees. So employers know it very well that if someone leaves, they could immediately hire another person, probably better than the incumbent, right? So if they know that one senior employee working for 20 years, of course, with 20 years, they have increased their salary because of the seniority. And somehow, if that person they have to replace, there would be at least 10 people line up to do that job. And by law of averages, five probably would be better than the incumbent at a lower salary, right? It all makes sense. And businesses are getting brutal. Businesses are in the business to make money, not really provide employment. That's not the objective of business. So they are also becoming very crude dealing their employees. Now, there are, of course, exceptions. There are corporate stars who are taken care by their employer, but generally speaking, employers are not worried to retain their employees. If they have to really replace them, they don't think twice and go faster. So that's the third fuel on the fire, actually, if you take that way. Number four, of course, there are jobs. Of course, there are openings. So it's not that all jobs are eliminated. And of course, recruiters are doing their business and prospective employers are looking for candidates, but they are getting overwhelmed because what happens if a good job is posted online today, online, within 24 hours, there is a tendency to have at least 500 resumes available. 500 within 24 hours. Now, who has time to go through 500 resumes? One of my friend in Dubai, Matt Lewis, who worked for a very large global search firm, told me that a few years ago, recruiters and search executives only used to spend 15-20 seconds per resume or per CV. 15-20 seconds, think of this. And he said today they only spend 5-6 seconds, 5-6 seconds. So if you are sending your CV to a recruiter, even if you are able to get 5-6 seconds of attention of a recruiter, what are the chances that they would understand your background and your talent and your qualification, right? So what is happening? Recruiters are do not have time. They are finding it very difficult to post the jobs and handle hundreds of resumes, if not thousands. So what they are doing, they are not posting jobs anymore. So that brings us to the fifth trend, that few jobs are being posted publicly. So we knew there are always hidden jobs, right? We always knew there is a lot of hidden jobs and very few advertised, but that trend has become even stronger. Today, even there are less jobs being posted because recruiters and employers are scared that if they post a job, it would be very difficult for them to handle the level of response from the job seekers. So what they do, instead of really posting a job, they started to look quietly themselves that where the right candidates are. So, and for an average job seeker, if you are not really have a good network, you only depends on the posted job in the internet, you have even more difficult and more increasing challenges to find any opportunities. So as a result of all this scenario I have sketched, I mean, I have not created myself with a reality, and I hope that you are agreeing with this, but not many people is noticing. The result is that most finance professionals, not only finance, but all corporate professionals are living in constant pressure of job security. Now, you're lucky if you already have a good, gainfully employed job, but even in that case, you are under the constant job pressure of job security because you know that, first of all, there is pressure from the oversupply of talent. But if somehow, God forbid, if you lose job, it would be very difficult to get back, right? So that's fear of job security also not only impact you in your performance, but creates a significant drop in the quality and thinking and the quality of life for those professionals. So that's very common. And as a result, we all feel that we are trapped in our jobs, most finance professionals. And to mitigate the risk of job security, you try to spend more time, more effort, more hard work. You try to basically devote your life to your work. And as a matter of fact, I call it you are living in your jobs day in and day out. You are living in your job just to secure the job. Isn't that true for most of us? But is that really the purpose of life? Or is that what we are supposed to work? I mean, we work to live, but looks like nowadays we are living to work, right? That should not be the case. So, so it's not all that bad. Let me bring you back to the perspective. So I just want to share this excellent quote from Charles Darwin, who said 200 years ago, "It is not the strongest of species that survive, not the most intelligent, but rather the one most adaptable to change." So, as I said earlier, it's not a matter of survival. Yeah, we need to survive, but I really would like to see you thrive in your jobs and your career. And the quality you need is adaptability, which unfortunately in accounting and profession especially, we lose very quickly. And I'll explain you how you could bring back the adaptability. So that was the first part. And as I said, the first part is quite gloomy. My purpose is not really to demotivate you or create a depression or create a very sad scenario, but really help you understand the reality. So you could understand the challenges in today's job and talent market, and then gear up yourself, develop yourself, prepare yourself to really deal with that situation. And exactly the title of this part two, not only survive, but thrive in your career. And this is possible. Let me uh, try my best to really share these thoughts with you so you could have more confidence after the end of this webinar to go back in your jobs and do a little differently.